She thinks my tractor sexy. Do do do. It really turns her on. Well, what size are you? That ain't the right one. They always staring at me. She likes the way I'm pulling as I'm chilling. I cannot find the right size. Oh, hey. Didn't even see you standing there. Well, fellas, I'm actually glad you're here because it's time to see if we can't get this old tractor running in good shape this time. I didn't buy a radiator for it, so probably still gonna have to put the garden hose in it. And maybe we might figure up something to patch it later on just as a cheap fix until we can get a new one. But I bet you're thinking, what'd you do, cornbread? Did you go and spend more money that you probably didn't need to? Well, if you guessed yes, then you'd be right. I went and spent more money on it probably than I should have, just for a little bit of nostalgia and wanting a tractor. But I'll get to that in a minute. You know how it is. I just ramble on for days and days and days. Welcome to the channel. As all of you know that's been here before, this is my 1962 Max Ferguson 35 Super Deluxe with a 3-cylinder Perkins diesel engine that's been around for a pretty good while now. For those of you that don't know and you want to catch the full-length videos on me trying to get this here tractor running, trying to figure out cheap ways to do it, and then eventually getting the right part, but off a used tractor from somewhere out in Tennessee, go back and watch them. But I'm going to give you just a quick little summary. I picked this tractor up for, I think it was $1,200. I think maybe it's 14. I can't remember. You know, a couple of $100 here and there. You love your project, so it could have been less or more. But when we first got this tractor, the injection pump was unbolted. There was a stud missing out of it. Most of the nuts were gone. The fuel injection lines, which are very hard to find, was cut completely into. And this tractor was in a non-running state. This tire, if you couldn't tell, it's a brand new tire, but it's been flat, and I just had moved it here recently, and I don't want to get a flat spot in it, even though it's probably already got one, but it's a tractor. I mean, if it gets a flat spot in it, you know, who cares? But I put a new wheel and tire on the other side, new tire on this side, and I'm going to have to do something to this wheel to get this to, you know, stick and quit leaking down, because it's leaking as fast as I, you know, pump it up. So maybe if we can run it and drive it, I figured it's probably just got a little rust around on the inside of the wheel itself. And if I have to, I'll buy another one like I did for the other side. But before I do that, I want to get this tractor running to its full potential. I bought this tractor in the state that it was in, and it was locked up. And there's no good way, unless you have one of those old-fashioned hand cranks, which I didn't, to really grab a hold of the, I'm going to say, harmonic balancer in the front, just to, you know, the crankshaft pulley, you know, make it simple terms. Get out here, you devil. Go! Get out here! But anyway, I just didn't have a good way of turning it over, and the starter wouldn't do it at all. I'd put a bigger battery in it. It still wouldn't hardly do anything. I just called my nanny. I said, hey, could you pull me or possibly pull me to see if I can get this tractor unstuck? I put it in, I think it was third high, and I would have her pull me, and it just would not unlock every time that I went forward and put it in third high moving forward. So some gears started turning in my head. I was like, well, what would happen if I put it in reverse? Well, when I put it in reverse, it unlocked a little bit. and then I put it back in third high going forward, and then it completely freed up. And I got it moved over here to the yard, and the starter finally was able to crank it over, even though it kind of got hung there for a second, but it eventually, cranked it over, and now it's completely free. On top of that, I was stuck with the issue of trying to fix the injection lines. I mean, I thought of a really good idea, and I had good intentions in my head, and one of them actually worked, but the other two, I kept on chasing a pinhole after a pinhole, and it just didn't work. And what I did is I took some brake line that was a little bit bigger than the size of the injection line, and figured if it filled up that space and then went to the small little hole that it was supposed to go in, that it would work, and it just did not work. I went up and down the road, had my buddy pull me, went too fast down a hill, found out that the tractor had no brakes whatsoever, and it scared me pretty good. So after that, I just decided to call it quits and come back here, because I almost ran into the back end of his pickup. So then I was left with, well, I need to find injection lines for this tractor. And when I found the injection lines, I put them on here, and I figured, well, problem's going to be fixed, because there was fuel coming out of this injection pump, but I really wasn't quite sure, if the injection pump was still good, because it looked like somebody was still trying to take it off. This tractor only has 4,000 hours, and the guy that I bought it off of was going to use it, but I guess whenever he was trying to take the injection pump off, he didn't know what he was doing. So when he cut the injection lines, he didn't realize how hard they were to find. I had to look and look and look, and eventually I was led to a place out in Tennessee, somewhere near Sweetwater, out there in that area, or maybe Madisonville. I don't know. It's close around that area. But there's this used tractor parts place out there. Old man answered. He said, "Yeah, I got a couple of them." And he sent me all 3 lines, and they came here in no time, and had to pay like $80 for them. And I was really grateful for that. So after that, I filled this thing full of diesel fuel. I would sit here and crank and crank and crank and crank until I realized that I didn't have enough cranking power. Went and got the starter rebuilt, and there's a place close to here that does that. Put the starter back on, put a bigger battery in it, cranked and cranked and cranked until finally, eventually, this thing fired off. And what I had to do is I had to go back and forth between half throttle and full throttle. And that's the only places that it would run, is between half throttle and full throttle. So I got to digging online, what's the symptoms like of this going on? Like, my diesel's doing such and such. What should I do? Or what's the issue that's going on? And about most of the issue that I came to was the injection pump. And with the injection pump, when I first bought it, it was halfway off. I'm figuring that's the issue. So I done went and spent $1,000 on a $1,200 tractor to see if I can get this thing running once again, but in better shape this time. Because if you remember the first time it ran, boy, it was smoky. And I've tried to start it since then, and it would try to kick over, but it really wouldn't kick over. And then eventually it just stopped. And I noticed that, there was some leaking that came from the injection pump itself. So I cut off the fuel valve, and it's been sitting ever since over there until I moved it here. Now I'm tired of it sitting here, because I hate mowing around it, and this tire being flat all the time, I can't stand it. So I want to get it to where it's in running shape. I got some places that I need to fix. My driveway, I need to get some attachments, some implements. I want to get a box blade. I want to get like a driveway rake, or just a rake that goes on back that I can drag the gravel, so I can get rid of some of this grass and bring this, gravel that I've got and spent a lot of money on, that's basically embedded in my driveway, and then the driveway leading out, because it's got a lot of mud and grass and everything all over it. So I need a tractor. By the way, if you made it through all that rambling, make sure you like, subscribe, share this video, smash that bell. Do whatever you can, so that way more people can see more of this cornbread content that I'm trying to push out. Well, anyway, let's get to it, and I figure I'll show you the new part that I have. So you can see, there's the old injection pump. I have a rubber line. It goes through right there to over here, and they don't leak. I kind of had to use the old lines that was attached. And here's the new injection lines that I had put in. And here's the injection pump itself. Got a lot of grease in it. You can tell somebody ain't been in it because it still has those twist ties right there. Now I'm pretty sure we have to take this part, or just this plate right here, off. I'm pretty sure. Not these, but these right here. And there's a bolt that sticks in through the injection pump. And the gear itself were to, stay in there, I'm pretty sure. And then we have basically this nut right here. We haven't got one right there. That one's gone. So maybe we can get a bolt later on. But as long as we got two, we're going to be doing pretty good. And then we got one back behind there. I've looked at my pump. It pretty much looks the same. But let me show you. So that was a brand new pump that I got. What WSK stands for. I think it's a German brand. I don't know. It's got like a lot of, weird lettering. Poznan, whatever that says, and then all that right there. But I do see one thing on this injection pump that I'm going to have to flop around. I'm going to have to flop this around because it's supposed to be facing out this way. And you can do that. It just, sits in there like that. I don't know why they faced it that way. I'm going to keep this old one in case I ever do need to get it rebuilt. I'll have the original equipment, which I think this is the original equipment. And after that, if we can get this thing running good, I'll put that radiator hose back on, take it over to the garden hose, and just let the water, run into the radiator while we let it run for a pretty good little while. Get a radiator or fix this one. I might take some solder and try to put it over the holes, and just as long as it has a slow leak, right now it's shooting out a stream. But if I can get it to where it just has a slow leak, that'll be pretty fine. And then after that, I kind of want to do something with this exhaust, get it routed a different way, and have this pipe, have a U come up into a muffler and then point it out, because that's how it was on the tractor that I used. See, the tractor that I used, I think it was a 64 or 65. I don't know, but it was the model that had power steering. This one, on the other hand, does not have power steering, but that's okay, because that other tractor, the power steering hardly ever worked. So I was just stuck all the time, cranking it out with my muscles, or what muscles I had. But we got an old injection pump, new injection pump, got some tools. I'm going to set y'all up over there. I'm going to get to work. Okay, so I got the oil filler neck off, and it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. They wasn't real tight, but they had a bunch of gunk all over them. I'm figuring that they're supposed to be that way. I don't know. Kind of threw me for a loop because it looked like it hadn't been messed with, but whenever I went to take them off, they just wasn't that tight. Maybe they just, worked their way loose after time. Who knows? And now in here, you take a peek, you got 3 bolts. I thought it was just the one in the middle, but there's 3, and I hear that they have washers, and you don't want to lose them. So we're going to go ahead and take them out, make sure that we don't, lose the washers. Take all the injection lines, return line, or the feed line, and all the other things loose that needs to be taken loose, and then take the injection pump out and put the new one in. All right, so I got it out. I took those 3 bolts off of that gear and basically just laid it down, make sure that it doesn't get out of timing with where it's supposed to be at. I moved this weird looking, I don't know if that's a filter or what that is, but it's pipe coming from down from the block into here, and then it comes out over there, goes up there, and I don't know if it's supposed to do some extra cooling or if it's supposed to filter the water. I don't know. But I unhooked that, moved that around. There's the 2 studs, missing one up there I was telling you about. Got everything unhooked and got that, fairly clean. Now here's my old gasket. Still pretty thick, but you can tell it's, kind of brittle and it's nasty. Here's my new one. The problem with my new one is there's a little tiny place in it. I think it's going to be okay because it hasn't reached the edges. I think it might be fine. I might run out to the gas station out here close and see if they got any ultra black. I don't anything else I wouldn't use, but if they got some ultra black, I'll use it. But just looking at these pumps, I notice a few differences. One being this piece here on the bottom. I don't know if I need that or not, but I'm just going to leave it off for now, because if I needed to, I could put it on while the pump is on the tractor. This is the one thing that I was telling you I have to flop and turn around the other way, because you can see that one is facing this way. I got a couple things I want to do. I want to clean that, oil filler spout right there, clean up these bolts and everything. Go out to the store and see if they have any ultra black, and if they don't, I think it should be fine. I don't think we're going to have an issue with it, and get this thing rolling, because I'm ready to see if this thing is going to run, the way it needs to. It better for $1,000. Okay, I got it on, got everything hooked up, the feed line. I did make sure that there was fuel to it. I'm going to go ahead and cut it on. Now, I guess there ain't nothing left to do but just to hook up the battery and try it. Now, I've done killed, at least 3 or 4 bees. So I'm hoping there's good God. Yep. Nope. Well, apparently the nest was bigger than I thought. And if you've ever dealt with a wasp, they don't hold back. So I ain't going to either. Plus, there's some kind of rat or squirrel nest right there on top of my battery. Can't have nothing. Where you at? I just hope none of them come back with vengeance. I think this thing will maybe sit here. Yep. It's kind of a little bit dangerous. And there's still one more bee. Dadgummit. All right. We know it's out of gear, so here we go. Okay. Well, battery is almost dead. Figures. Because I think last time I tried to mess with this thing, it did that. Not only that, I feel like I'm going to have to bleed these injection lines. We're going to have to do something about that battery. Let me figure out something. All right, here we go. All right, give her a little bit of throttle. Well, let's crack him injection lines. See what we got going on. I'll do one down here at the pump first. That's the third time I've hit my hand on that exhaust. All right, here we go. Okay. A little bit of fuel on that bottom injection line, which I do not like, because that line's tight. Maybe I didn't get that one time enough. I don't know. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to see if we can't get fuel up here to the fuel rail. Okay. Now, see what comes out of that one. All right. Got fuel coming out of that line. All right. If we can get 2, then that should be good. All right. That's 2. Okay, push back in. Well, what is going on here? Well, how far does this thing go down? Oh, God. All right, come on now. Come on now. Tighten up. Ugh. Okay, now, here we go. I believe it's going to do something. I'm excited. Here we go. Okay. Now he's going to do something. Okay. Same bleeding process back over again. Daggum. Here we go. Oh. Come on. Come on. Come on. Daggum. What is the deal here? Good evening, fellers. This old boy tried to, record some content for you guys yesterday on me trying to get the tractor running. My phone, which is what I record off of, just kept on getting hot and kept on cutting off what I was trying to record. And it's probably good that you didn't see the rest of what I recorded because I really didn't get anything accomplished. I was down and out. I was mad, upset, angry, praying, just all kinds of things. If you could just imagine what I was, going through, especially spending $1,000 on a part and thinking that it was going to fix my problem. Now here's the golden question. Am I going to take that injection pump off that I just bought for $1,000 and send it back? No, I'm not. And the reason why is for the sake of my sanity. If I was to take it back off, put the old one back on, and, it be in worse shape, and then I have to do this process all over again, it's not worth my time to me. And I know the tractor has a new injection pump on it, and I got the old one in case I ever, want to get it rebuilt. And I plan on keeping the tractor. I like the tractor, and I want to keep on fixing up on it. So a new injection pump ain't going to hurt it. It's just going to make it run better. And I figured that if the old one, if it is weak, it's already off of there, and we got a newer, stronger one on there. I can already tell a difference when I crack the injection lines, that it seems to spurt out more, so I'm just going to leave that on there. But here's the thing. Did I ever get it running? Well, let me just tell you how this went down. I done told you about being down and out and distraught and upset, and I just started praying. And I just want to tell you a little bit of my testimony. So yesterday, I started praying, and you just got to understand the kind of relationship that me and God have. I was just out here like, I know you can heal. I know you can do all these things. I know that you could do miraculous, wondrous, perform all sorts of type of miracles. So I just said, can you please come down and touch this tractor or do something, help me with it, so that way I can figure it out. And it was about that evening time. My wife just had got home. She pulled up, and she could see I was stressed and upset. And she asked me, have I checked everything? Have I looked over everything? Have I Googled it? And I said, yeah. And I just, really wasn't thinking, I guess about the things that it could be, just because I put the new injection pump on there, and that's what I thought it was, because where the lines had been cut, and I told you that it was halfway on when I first got the tractor, or halfway off, I should say. Anyway, she proceeds to Google it, and then she tells me, well, can it be the timing? Because it says right here that the timing could be the issue. So I took off the nuts to the injection pump. I stuck a crowbar back behind there, and I figured I would go this way first. And when I started to turn it, it seemed like towards the left, which is counterclockwise, it seemed to run better. I mean, it made a significant difference. Yesterday, where I couldn't get it basically running at all, now it'll start and fire up. It ain't running 100%, but it'll start and fire up and run. So that leads me to what I've done today. And I want to go ahead and show you what I've done, because I'm tired of this thing sitting. I know it ain't got no brakes, but I am ready to, get it in some gears and take it, for a little test drive. Your boy went and got some solder, lead-free solder, cleaned it up real good, found out where it was leaking, and I had to solder it 2 or 3 times, but there was pinholes all the way across through there, so it wouldn't hold it at all. And now, if I open up the cap, see that in there? Now it's to the point to where it's holding, and it don't really build up a lot of pressure, but if it does, I'm going to go ahead and throw in some barge stop leak. Yep, I know, I said it. But this is an old tractor, and the kind that I got is just for radiators, and it has some kind of water pump lube. So it ain't for no major leaks. And if this thing starts leaking at all, it's just barely. So it would at least stop that. And it's just temporary. I get a new radiator You know, I'll get antifreeze and put it in it, and I'll do a flush on the system. But this is where I got the injection pump sitting at. I still got a little bit of ways to go with the timing, and if I feel like if I get it down more, I feel like it'll run better. Because what it's doing right now, it won't run completely at an idle, but it's getting to where I can idle it down a whole lot more than what I used to be able to. I used to be able to only run this thing off of half throttle and full throttle, and it throw out a bunch of black smoke. Now, it seems like it's hazing unless I give it a lot of fuel, and I'm able to push up the fuel lever a little bit more. So I figure if I, take off those nuts and then take off all the fittings and crank that thing down, I know it'll be hard to get those injection lines back on it, but I figure if I do that, I think I'll have that tractor pretty much squared away. As far as the running goes, I got the radiator somewhat fixed. I need to put the hose back on the intake. Need a new filter because it's nasty. Oil's already changed. Starter's rebuilt. Brand new injection pump. I could look at the hydraulic fluid later. We need brakes and we need exhaust. Those are the next two things that's going to happen with this thing. So those will be the next things that we work on. It ain't perfect, but I want to show you what I got. The only thing is I got the tire pumped up now, and I have it out of gear. What to do? I'm never ready. Well, I'll tell you what. I got an idea. All right, here we go. I'm going to put it in low. And first. Okay. Oh, dadgummit. What'd I do that for? Well, it would be just like me. Oh, to shut the fuel off. I got to start remembering to open up that valve, because if I don't, I got to break these injection lines every time. Okay. All right. What's going on here now? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, just like for me to try to do something and it go all to crap. Dadgummit. Alright, maybe I can hit this prime button a few times. Maybe it might do something. I don't want to be in my neighbor's way for when if she needs to get out. Oh, Lord Jesus. Check it again. Make sure it's out of gear. Yep. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right, so put it in, low and creep back and forth. And I got it to right there and it shut off on me. It was doing a little bit of, surging. And I got that fuel valve open. So there ain't no reason why it shouldn't be getting fuel other than it just getting too much and the timing not being correct like it needs to be. I really need to adjust that thing and get it to where it needs to be just right. I need to figure out how to adjust those brakes. I know they're mechanical, so they're rod driven, so I don't have to worry about any wheel cylinders. But I'm pretty sure that there's drums inside of there. And of course, you have to jack up the back of the tractor, take those big humongoid wheels off. I don't know if you have to do that or not, or if there's an adjustment on there, because this tractor has none. I mean, zero, zilch, nada. I've stomped them. It ain't got nothing. But a couple things we can accomplish on today is we got the radiator fixed somewhat, and we got it, running underneath its own power to where I could move it around. Not necessarily where it needs to be just right yet, but it's getting there. So I guess now I need to figure out what I need to do about the brakes. Now we need to get somewhere with the exhaust, and we need to adjust the timing on that injection pump a little bit more. See if we can crank a little bit more out of it. We get those three things, then I feel like we'll have a good running tractor. But I can't do it this evening. So I'll see y'all fellers when I see y'all. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. No, it needs to be a little bit shorter. Yep. Yeah. Well, it's about time you got here. Where you been? Don't you know you're supposed to show up by sunrise? Nah, I'm just kidding. I didn't get down here till probably in the afternoon sometime. I don't know. I'm recording on my phone, so I can't tell the time. Anyway, what we have here is some exhaust pieces. I got a muffler. Or for you Ricer fans out there. Or for the cammed ones. Exhaust cutoffs. I got me one of them flappy doodabber things. We're going to use some of the existing old pipe, and then I got some new pipe and some flanges, and we're just going to make something work. And the reason why we're making something work is because I tried to get this piece, which I just cut in half just a second ago. This is what it looked like, and basically it traveled back behind the tractor into a muffler tailpipe that stuck plumb up above the fender that was hanging sideways and was hung on by a piece of wire. I'm taking this elbow that we got right here, and I'm going to cut this off short enough to where I can fit this connector over top of it. And then I'm going to make a U shape. Or a complete 180. Because I went to the muffler shop yesterday, and he didn't exactly understand what I meant by U shape. And I guess in layman's terms, it means the shape of a U. Oh, you're wanting something that looks like a horseshoe. I said, yeah. And then he went on to explain to me what 180 degrees meant. And I already knew what 180 degrees meant. But I guess he just thought I was... But I'm not that way all the time. Sometimes I'm like, Other times I'm like, But I guess for the most part, I am like... Those of you that know. But what he explained to me is he told me that he wasn't going to stick his rusty pipe in his pipe bending machine. I didn't know that rusty pipe could scratch a pipe bending machine. I guess that's the case. He also told me that he didn't have no 180 degree mandrels and that his machine would not go a full 180 degrees. Some muffler shop, huh? So anyway, what I got for the idea of how I'm going to run this is basically... This is what comes from the manifold. There's a pipe that literally slides over top of this, and there's a clamp. And then we're going to take this and get this connector, and we're going to shorten this up and maybe shorten a little bit of this up. So that way it ain't, so tall. I want it to be, a nice U, but I want the pipe to stick up as much as it can, not to be down low to the ground. So this is going to hook onto this. And then after we get that hooked on, Then this is going to go in here. And I only have one 1.5 inch connector. And I believe that I'm going to have to cut it 3 ways because I need a piece right here. I need a piece right here. And I need a piece over here in order for everything to fit tight. And then once I get everything over here, then this is going to sit inside here. And then we're going to have the flapper doodobby sitting right there. So we're going to have something that looks a little bit like this right here when we're done with it. Is it going to be the prettiest? No. But I'm not going to win a beauty pageant. I'm just looking for functionality. And right now, the tractor is loud. I had the intake hose off, and you wouldn't believe how much of just putting that intake hose back on the tractor, it actually quietened it down. Because every time I'd fire it up, I would hear a thump from the exhaust and a thump from the intake. So it was like thump, 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 the whole time. I want to get the exhaust fixed, and I want to get the brakes fixed before I even mess with that injection pump again. Because when I mess with that injection pump, that means I'm going to have to take all those lines back off and then re-bleed them, and that's a whole other process. And it's hot outside, and right now I'm in the shade, and I don't want to be out in the sun. So we'll just save that for later. Anyway, that's enough talking. Let's get to doing it. I got my flange on this side, and basically I want to cut this as short as I can. So that way I'll still have enough to fit this sleeve over top of here, but it won't be so long. So I think we're going to go for about right there. I'll tell you what, I don't like having to hold that, so I'm just going to stick it right there, and maybe it won't go down. Blade's duller than a butter knife, so we can just take that off and then take this over here and clean it up a little bit. Good enough. Now we got a connector. It fits. Only thing is I need to cut this connector in 3 different pieces. So by doing so, which I really don't know if we're going to have enough, because see, I'm going to have to need a big enough chunk that whenever I slide it over, that it's going to be big enough to connect these 2 pieces together. But once I get them, to where I can clamp it down and then spot weld them, then I could just spot weld it, and as soon as I spot weld it, it'd be all right. Okay. I don't know. Seemed like the harder it got, the better it cut. Now I might can use this for something. That's a little bit loose in there, and it's the same size as that. I don't think I'm gonna be able to use that for nothing. And if I do, we'll just see what I can use with it. Good enough. Okay, so now It ought to be something along the lines of that nature. And so now I might can cut off a little bit on this side, just enough for a piece of this connector to fit in here. Because honestly, if we do not have a connector that'll fit tightly against the muffler, then I can take and just slide the muffler just like that up against the bottom of it, and take and sand off the paint how it need to be fit, and then it'll just sit like that right there, and then the flap will be right there. And honestly, it's not, when you look at it, it's not going to be too tall, so it's not like it's going to come up way above my head, but it'll do the job, and that's all that matters. But since you know the gist of where I'm going, I'm going to go ahead and put y'all on that fast mode, so that way I can get everything done and then just come back at you whenever I have an update. Okay, so something like this right here is what I got going on. There's my muffler. I cut the 1.5 inch adapter in 3 pieces. I got a piece there, I got a piece here, and I got a piece here. Now this piece I'm going to try to hide, and this piece I'm going to try to hide. I'm going to get these 2 pieces pretty much flush, welded together, and then I'm going to push this piece down inside there. And then once it's down inside there, then I'm going to tack weld it, and then I'm going to shove this as far as I can in here to try to get rid of some of this gap. I couldn't really cut on this piece, and right here's a bend and the pipe gets smaller, so I couldn't cut no farther than I did over here. So it's just going to have to stay like that, but honestly, that keeps it away from the hood and keeps it away from the tractor. And once I get it, in a little bit more, it's probably going to, come in probably another, I don't know, I'd say that's about inch, half an inch, something like that. So that right there is what it's going to look like when it's on the tractor. Guys, I think I got the welder pretty much set where I want it. Right here it was eating into not the old pipe but the new pipe. It was doing the same down here, and then when I got up here, I turned it down a little bit, but then right here, which I know it's still a booger weld, but still it's not eating into it like it was. I feel like if I could probably go a little bit slower, it'll probably get it. But as far as it being, sturdy, I think probably 1,000 degrees. Yeah, it's hot. It don't feel like it's going anywhere. But, I mean, who knows? But if I get a full weld all the way across through there, I think we'll be good. Like I said, now I got to get this piece down inside here as far as I can get it. And then get this piece down inside there, and maybe what I'll do is I'll just, once I get this piece down inside there, then I'll take this and I'll tack it on. Woo, still warm. Tack it onto this piece, because then this will just slide right in. But I need to get this adapter right here as far in there as I can get it. So maybe leave it, a little bit out so I can weld to it too, so that way it won't move nowhere. What do y'all think? Nah, let's just go ahead and go all the way. Right there. I don't think it's going anywhere. It'll give us some extra protection, from busting through the metal too while we're welding. So now I can get this piece right here tacked in on this piece, then I can slide that over. And once I slide that over, then I can work on getting the muffler. And once I get it all tacked in, then I can get it all welded. I can put my flap on. We can go clamp it onto the tractor and see what she sounds like. Okay, this is my last update, and I'm going to try to get the rest of this done so that way we can get up there and get it on. I said I was going to tack it all together, then weld it, but I think I'm going to go ahead and weld what I got here now, and then I can focus on getting the muffler, because once I get the muffler on here, then it's going to be oblong and hanging everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and weld that in and weld that in. Then we'll get the muffler and we'll get the flap on. All right, got everything welded up. It's not the prettiest welds in the world, but I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's going nowhere. And I made, sure of that. I went over it in this spot where it had 2 different size spacers. I went over it twice. This one, I just took my time. I got this done. Now, let's go up there and let's throw it on the tractor. All right, so we got it on here. Looks good. It's a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I don't think it's going to, hit our steering, and I think it's going to clear the hood. It is a little bit angled, but, it don't look bad. This is the thing. It looks halfway decent. It don't look the best, but does it do the job? Well, let's see. Okay. Now, I do have a leak, I think around this donut gasket that goes to the manifold. So we'll just have to deal with that for now. But at least it's not like it was. Well, I think the exhaust is going to work pretty well. Like I said, it ain't going to hit the steering, and that hose right there, I got a little bit of length that I could take out of it. It goes to the cooling system anyway. So I could probably cut that and scoot that over. And as far as the radiator, that little fix I done with the soldering, it's barely got a drip. And I barely had to put any water in it this morning from it sitting yesterday. So with that being said, we're getting this tractor done little by little. Is it perfect? No. Does it sound like it's running on 2 cylinders? Yeah. And does it have air coming back through the intake? Yeah, which worries me a lot. But the only thing is, it ain't got no blow by. And as far as the injection pump goes, whenever I turned the injection pump for the timing, it seemed like it, wanted to run better. At first, the way it was turned, it wouldn't run at all. I turned it a little bit, and now it wants to run better. And it doesn't seem like it's throwing out as much smoke as it used to. So I'm thinking that if I can get that injection pump, like I told y'all, turned all the way on that one side, I feel like that this tractor, might not run the best. It's probably a little wore out. I mean, it was locked up when I got it. So you got to look at the circumstances. I had a tractor that was locked up, had a bent wheel, wasn't running, injection pump halfway off, injection lines cut in two, and a radiator that was leaking. So to say that I had my work cut out for me, well, that's an understatement. But look what we did now. We got the fuel injection lines. We got an injection pump on it. We got an exhaust on it. We got the radiator fixed. And at least now the thing will fire up and run every time that I turn the key. The tractor's got leaks. It don't run the best. And it's just not perfect. But that's what you get whenever you buy something that was in a field that wasn't running and was in the shape this thing was. But guess what? We got it running back again, and that doesn't mean that we're done with this. This thing can still come back to its full potential. With that being said, I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you like, tune in, subscribe, do whatever you can so that way more people can see more of this cornbread content that I'm trying to push out. And we'll see y'all fellers later. Uh-oh. Well, I guess it didn't like that too much. Just for good measure, let's try it again before you go. You have got to be kidding me. Boy, is this thing stubborn. Oh well.